Hi dear children, yes, so today we are going to see about the structure of the sperm. Alright, it's going to be very interesting. So we are going to see about the structure of the sperm. Alright guys, so let me start with the name itself, sperm. So you guys might have noted a lot of terminologies in your book. So sperm, of course, this is a simple one. Sperm, whenever you say sperm, it's a single entity, right? A single sperm, you call it a sperm. And sperms, many, more than one sperm, you call it sperms. So likewise, what is the terminology for that? So whenever you say a single sperm, no guys, that you can call it spermatozoon. It means a single sperm, zoon, alright? Yes. And spermatozoa means a collection of sperms. More than one sperm, you call it spermatozoa. Alright guys, is that clear? And coming to the structure of the sperm, of course you guys know this is known as the male gamete, right? So to give much more definition to the explanation, I can call it to be the microscopic flagellated motile gamete. Alright. So this is a beautiful definition which gives a lot of specifics to it. So it is highly microscopic. So guys, if you take the human sperm is the smallest cell in the human body, which is roughly around 30 to 50 micrometers, okay, in size, and that is the smallest cell in the human body. So if you take it, it is microscopic, flagellated. What do you mean by flagella? Can you see the word flagellum there? It means the tail. Alright. So that is a quick definition of a sperm. You can follow this definition. Alright. And now guys, coming to the part. As you can see the beautiful picture there, you can see the head part, the middle piece, and then the tail part. That's all. So you have the three different parts. What are they? The head part, the middle piece, and then the tail part. Alright guys. If you look at the head part, what are the things which you can see there? You can see something called as acrosome, right? Followed by the acrosome, you have a nucleus. Followed by the nucleus, you have this organelle called centriole. Of course, in your lower grades, you would have learned that it helps in cell division by forming spindle fibers. Alright guys. And guys, there is a part actually before the middle piece, you actually have a part which is called as neck. So actually I should say there are four different regions, but this neck is very short that you cannot see it through. It's very short. But head, neck and the middle piece. Most of you will get confused thinking that this part is the neck. No, this is the middle piece, and in between the middle piece and the neck, and the head is where you have the neck. But that is very short so that you cannot see it. Alright, but you can just mark that portion as the neck. Alright guys, and then the middle piece and then the tail part. Alright, yes, so this is about the parts. So let us start with the head part. So hope the definitions are clear, and the spermatozoon zoa is clear, singular and plural form. Alright guys, now, yeah, fine. So let us start with the head part. So if you take the head part, of course you can see a structure there called acrosome, which is like that of a crescent, right? Crescent shaped acrosome. So what is this acrosome actually? So guys, in the spermatogenesis I taught you spermatids, right? From which the sperms arises. So that process we call it as spermiogenesis, right? So that spermatids, if you take, the spermatids actually have Golgi bodies, right? Golgi bodies in the spermatids are now the acrosomes, which means acrosome is a modified Golgi body. Modified Golgi body from the spermatid. So that becomes acrosome in the sperm. Alright guys. And now what does this acrosome contain? It has an enzyme called hyaluronidase. Hyaluronidase. Now guys, what does this hyaluronidase does? So this is what penetrates into the egg cell and brings about the fertilization. Now there are different other names for this, so which you have to know from your exam perspective. This hyaluronidase can also be known as sperm lysin. Sperm lysin. It can also be known as the corona penetrating enzyme. So what is this corona penetrating? So there is a layer called corona radiata surrounding the egg cell. Alright, so it penetrates that portion. So corona penetrating enzyme is another name. And it is also known as zona icin. Yes, yes guys. So it's the zona icin, the other name. Also you can call it as aerosine. Alright. So these are the different names of the hyaluronidase. As I told, it helps in penetrating the egg so that the fertilization can happen. And then comes the nucleus. So this you have to call it the haploid nucleus. So you guys already know why haploid nucleus, because it has half the number of chromosome, that is just 23 chromosome. So we represent it as N. So that it can fuse with the egg nucleus, which is also haploid. Together they form the diploid zygote. Alright guys. Yeah. And guys, can you note there is a small space between the acrosome and the nucleus? That space is known as Perforatorium. What is it guys? It is known as Perforatorium. So that is one of the important question you might expect. Alright. Yes, Perforatorium. Alright. So now we have completed acrosome, Perforatorium, nucleus. Now moving on to the tiny centriole there. So guys, you see a centriole at nearer towards the nucleus, there is also a centriole which is in the neck portion, that is at the top of the middle portion. So this one which is towards the nucleus, the top one towards the nucleus, you call it the proximal means near, proximal centriole. And the one at the bottom in the middle piece, top of the middle piece and near the neck, you call it the distal centriole. Now what is the function of this centriole if you ask me? Proximal, which is near to the nucleus? No guys. So what it does is that it is the one which brings the first cleavage. Very, very important. That is the one which brings the first cleavage of the zygote. Alright. First cleavage or the first division is brought about by the proximal centriole, because centriole brings about the division. Now what about the distal centriole? Guys, can you see the middle piece, and what is that structure there? So the middle piece actually consists of mitochondria. If you ask me how many mitochondria will be there, there will be around 20 to 25 mitochondria in the middle piece. Now guys, this distal centriole, it divides and it forms an axial filament. Alright, and that region becomes like this. Okay, this region becomes like this. So that filament is actually formed by the distal centriole. And what happens to the mitochondria? The mitochondria wounds around the filament in the spiral arrangement. Alright guys, that spiral arrangement of the mitochondria is known as Nebern kern. Very, very important MCQ guys, very important. So what happens when the distal centriole, it forms an axial filament. The mitochondria forms a spiral arrangement over that. That arrangement of the mitochondria in a spiral form is known as Nebern kern. Alright? Yes. So now that we have completed the centriole, now coming to the middle piece, as I told you, it consists of the mitochondria, 20 to 25 mitochondria. And what is the function of the mitochondria? To provide energy. So let me erase this so that let us keep the slide neat and clean. You guys can make the video, make the notes. If you didn't make a note of it, you can go back, okay, play back the video and you can pause it and take the notes. Alright guys. Yes. Now talking about the middle piece, the mitochondrial concept is done. Then coming further down is your tail portion, right? So you can see the tail which is starting from here and ending here. Alright. So guys, the tail piece, if you take, it is divided into two parts. Okay, tail piece is divided into two parts. The main piece and the end piece. Alright guys, main piece and the end piece. Alright. So if you take the main piece, that is formed by the central. So this filament which I told you earlier, which is formed by the central, so that which is formed by the distal centriole, so that is what is extending all throughout. Understanding, guys? That is what is extending all throughout. So that they have